UvaldeRadio.net, Robert Miguel here. We are live at the Uvalde Black Belt Academy. The address is 2031 East Main Street in a beautiful Uvalde. And my first time here, I'm getting all these Cobra Kai vibes, and it's really kind of cool. I'm really feeling also out of shape. But I'm here with, I don't know what to call him, sensei or master or what, but Mr. PJ Talavera. Welcome, sir.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Nice being here.
So what is the official title here for an instructor?
Instructor, that's it. Mm-hmm. We're in
we can't call it, didn't we call you sensei, just kind of out of love or respect?
For the people that don't train here, yes. It's
Okay.
kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing. So sensei is apparently there's that Cobra Kai show that's kind of reigniting those words or those titles. But everybody that knows me here, they just call me instructor.
But I mean, I'm sure those are titles that you earn, and there's certain reverence to them. I'm sure you don't just throw them around lightly.
Correct.
Either, right?
Correct.
Right,
yes. It takes a lifetime of commitment to train and dedicate yourself to develop that proficiency to be able to train somebody else properly.
Well, it's really a treat to be here. My first time in this building, and I've been in Uvalde for a while now. So we'll go ahead and start from the beginning again. Mr. Talavera here at the Black Belt Academy of Uvalde. How long have you guys been in this location, in this building?
In this particular location, close to 9 years now.
Wow.
So it's been at least 8.5, 8 3/4, so about 9 years.
I like your style, man. Right across from the liquor store, you know, and after a tough day.
Yeah.
You really do have some Cobra Kai stuff going on there.
You know, I need to see that show to see what's going on. So,
you definitely do. But yeah, sorry about that. I promise that's the last reference. Unless I say wax on, wax off later. I don't know.
Have fun.
But so 9 years here in this location, and how long have you, I guess let's go and get into your story. Sure. What led you in the, I guess, the line of martial arts instruction?
Well, my journey, to sum it up as briefly as I can, or quickly as I can, began in 1987, I think it was, when I started training. There was a school here in town. The instructor was Albert Salazar. He was a great black belt. He was just a great guy. And he had a school, and he trained under a place called Kim's Black Belt Academy. That gentleman, that grandmaster, was out of Chicago. Originally, they came in from Korea, but there were some legitimate, hardcore, traditionalist taekwondoists. And I started at that school here and went for the duration until the school dissipated over time, and he kind of moved on. And I also had the opportunity to train early on in 88 and 89 under a gentleman by the name of Fumio Demura, who was in California. Now, the reason I bring that up is because you keep mentioning Cobra Kai, which is the Karate Kid, story, saga, whatever.
Yeah.
And Fumio Demura was the stunt double for Mr. Miyagi in the original series.
Wow!
Not only that, Mr. Fumio was a world-renowned master who trained some of the best black belts on the planet, and I got a chance to actually work with him at his school on Westminster in Santa Ana, California, and it was just eye-opening. So my initial delve into training was here in small-town Uvalde, and then in California with the biggest of the big, and so that was certainly a wonderful experience to have worked with that caliber of people, and that's how I started. And once the school dissipated, I was kind of left to my own devices because it's kind of few and far between as far as schools like that are concerned around here. So I would go to San Antonio a lot, and I would find every black belt, every trainer, every martial artist I could find every weekend, all the time, and just sought it out. And when you search for those things, you find those things. And so I had an opportunity to train with a lot of wonderful people. I trained under Master Omar Garcia in the Young Tigers Taekwondo Academy in San Antonio, and that was certainly eye-opening as well, and we had some great training there. Trained in Cape Cod, Massachusetts when I lived up there under the Nippon Bushu-ryu Academy instructors, and they were some legit Shitari Shotokan, or Shotokan practitioners that came down from Okinawa and trained with those guys over there. So what that means is anywhere I've ever moved to as a young man, as a teenager, growing up, whatever, as a young adult, the first thing that I would do is get off the plane or get off the bus. I would find a job or start working, and then the next day I would find a dojo. Didn't matter where, didn't matter what, I absorbed it all. I've trained in a lot of different styles over the years, and more recently, about 9 years ago, I adopted the Humaita system of Jiu-Jitsu, which is a Gracie style of ground combative, kind of like wrestling, and trained under, which I still train under, RPBJJ, Rodrigo Pinheiro Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And our master is Hoyler Gracie from the Gracie family. So these are the guys that actually had the privilege of being promoted under. I got my blue belt, my purple belt from Master Hoiler, got my brown belt from Rodrigo, and as a matter of fact, just a few days ago, I was promoted to my third stripe on my brown belt, so I'm getting really close to that black belt in Humaita Jiu-Jitsu, which is about a 10-year saga ordeal, and grueling training. I also train under Pete Spratt now under a Muay Thai system, Pete Spratt Combatives, and you talk about brutal training, and I love it. From the day that I started to right now, I've never stopped. I've always done martial arts to some degree. I fought back in the 90s quite a bit. Every tournament we can get our hands on, you name it, from the local point systems to the Taekwondo Nationals to AAU to we used to fight in churches, full contact on the side. I mean, anywhere there was a venue that somebody rented out, hey, we're fighting full contact, you meet us here, you got it.
That'll get some offering money, yeah.
Well, it'll pay for the gas on the way home. But we had a blast and we had fun and we learned a lot. And I guess I'm just reiterating the fact that my journey was very specific to always being involved in the martial arts somehow.
Now I do have a question, because it sounds like you've traveled, the states, if not the world, kind of perfecting or in a pursuit to perfect a lot of these arts. Is that the way of the martial artist? Do you seek out different places and different styles and different instructors, or is that just your personal journey?
Not necessarily. My journey is, everybody's journey is specific unto themselves. Uh-huh. And, it's one thing to hop around from school to school. And I want to reiterate, that's not what I'm about. That's nothing to do with creating loyalty to a system or to a school or to a master or to a curriculum. Mine was kind of out of necessity, having grown up around here and there not being anything. So I had to go out and find it. I would have never left my first instructors until, I would become proficient as an instructor or as a black belt. And then you have to, not have to, but it would behoove one to consider making themselves solid in areas where they don't have a lot of experience. That's where the growth is.
So you outgrow what is available for you to learn?
Not necessarily, no, because...
I'm asking if that's what makes you leave to go pursue other places.
I think that for myself...
like a video game leveling up.
If I play video games, maybe, but I guess the way I would answer that is this. For myself, it's a matter of, okay, we can kick all day, we can punch all day, but we don't have a lot of ground tactics. So it would behoove me to search that balance, to fight on the ground. So that would lead you to cross-train in other areas.
Gotcha.
Okay? And I'm not talking about the MMA the way it exists today, because that's just a watered-down version of moves. So there's no fundamental, foundational stuff in a lot of those schools, and you can quote me on that. Please do so.
Okay, absolutely.
The traditionalist schools have exactly that. They have the foundation for the building blocks to build a system. It's not just, let me take this move and that move and this move and that move, because that's hollow. There's nothing underneath it. So I think that any good trained martial artist on any style, again, would behoove them to cross-train in other styles to some degree to develop a basic foundation and understanding of how that style works.
Sure.
So if all I do is kick and punch and fight, but I don't have a lot of boxing, well, let me try that out. Let me check it out. And it has nothing to do with bouncing around from school to school, because that's completely different. There are people who do that, and that's just those called school hoppers.
Well, I would liken it to like religion. You have a faith. It's probably in your best interest to find out, explore, not necessarily believe, but you want to know what the other people believe, and what their arguments will be, and how to counter that, and it just makes you an informed person.
I think that makes you a better Christian, to use that analogy, because as a Catholic, if I were invited to Baptist, which I have friends there, I love going to those churches because they know their Bible, man. I love being there. If I'm invited to another place, then absolutely, because that just makes me a better Christian. So absolutely, same thing with martial arts. As long as you have a foundation, a home, as long as there's loyalty to a system, to people, and to the traditions of the things you're trying to incorporate in your life, and that is ultimately this, is if your endeavor does not include the idea of improving the content of your character, then you're doing it wrong. Then it's just a series of moves and they're hollow. So the point is to be a good person. The point is to try. The point is to sacrifice. The point is to suffer, to some degree, because that makes you just a more understanding human for the human world, I guess, or for the suffering in the world, right? Right. So if we endure every single day to burn our muscles and to push our bodies and to feel the fear and feel the pain, and put that in a way that we can deal with it and learn to relax into it, and it's not a big deal, whatever, then we can remember that there is some real suffering in the world, and we can endure even more. So you use concepts like that to improve yourself overall. Well, that's the whole point of martial arts training. Again, is to improve the content of the individual character. If you don't endeavor to let go of the ego and practice the things we're supposed to practice, what's the point? It's just moves.
Now, you mentioned suffering, and I got to tell you what, this town has gone through a lot of suffering here in the last several weeks. And you guys, and it's just a great way to segue right into this, you've come up with a great idea of how to kind of give back to the community and help deal and help heal our wounds here. So let's go and talk about this program that's kicking off tomorrow, right here at the Black Belt Academy.
The response has been tremendous so far. I had no idea it was going to blow up the way it did or take off the way it was going to take off.
You're going to need a bigger place.
More classes spread out over time.
And this place is huge.
Yeah, absolutely. The square footage in this room alone on the mat is about 2,000 feet just for the mat. And you can see the bleachers fit about 100 people in here, right? And so Hands Up for Rob was something we came up with, I guess, about a week ago. I had been kind of toying with the idea in my mind. Because we had been, as an entity, donating a lot to the community, volunteering everywhere we can, being there for as many people as we're able to, shaking hands every day and hugging people, going to the memorial sites, talking to people out of town, helping them look around, showing them, talking to them, and just being the best we can be for considering what we're all going through. And of course, being there for some of the families whom we know very well, which has been extremely difficult, having attended the funerals and being there. It's just absolutely devastating. So that offering of, you know what, for that particular age group, 2nd through 5th, it's just an idea of a bracket of kids who suffer quite a bit or who are traumatized. And, well, how do we begin to heal? How do we begin to go forward? Well, I think that, number one, it's not going to be a sense of normalcy, that things are never going to be the same again. But here's the deal, life goes on.
Yeah.
Life goes on no matter what you try to do. It's going to keep going on without you. So the best I think we can do, not the best we can do, one of the things we can do is provide a sense of normalcy as far as schedule is concerned, introduce some healthy, fun activities as far as social interactions are concerned, some healthy ideas as far as exercise is concerned, some fundamentals to burn off excess energy, to take some who are traumatized a little bit and need a little bit of outlet to grow, to build their confidence again, to build their confidence in adults again. To let them know that we here are genuinely in love with you.
I feel like this program is going to hit and be successful on so many levels. I mean, everything you're talking about is exactly what these kids need. I mean, in a sense, just a way to vent frustration, through movement or, I mean, again, like you said, just hanging out, camaraderie, building friendships, focus, all these things that when who knows what they're even going through. I can't even imagine.
Correct.
But just a few days a week to kind of to have some sort of organization and projects and something. It's what a great idea. I mean.
Well, I do appreciate you saying that wholeheartedly. We do. When we thought of it, it wasn't anything other than, the least we can also do is I'm going to open up for this many days and we're going to offer this. And let's do something positive. And that was it. If anybody wants to come, cool, let them come. But the moment we put it online, the moment we started talking about it, like, boom, I was like, okay, we're signed up with 50 the first day. And I'm like, okay. There's still room, and we do have the capacity to divvy up the classes for different time frames.
Let me say this. Let's talk about those initial phone calls. I'm sure you got phone calls from excited parents that wanted more information. What was the energy like that? I'm sure that there were some hopeful people and some grateful folks. Just give me a little insight as to how those conversations went.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head with that. It wasn't so much excitement as it was sincerity. That's what I picked up initially. And that was kind of a really heartfelt, thank you. Thank you for doing, oh my goodness, thank you, the kids, oh my goodness, I didn't know what to do. There's just something, this is something. And that was something that was really palpable, and it still is, because I get phone calls constantly. You heard the phone ring just a second ago. So I think a sense of true sincerity and heartfelt community is kind of what I got. It's not I, it's we, it's us. And we had some little girl come in just a little while ago to sign up. Well, her mother brought her in before they left town. And we have a lot of stuffed animals left over from what we were giving out to to some people over at the Robb Memorial Site. The out-of-towners would come. We'd give stuffed toys, and we're just hugging everybody, and here you go, and this is, love and that kind of thing. And so we had some that were brand new, and we gave it to her, and she just lit up, and she just was like, wow, this is cool. Not only is this a creepy, cool martial arts fight environment, but these people are nice, and you can feel the sincerity. And so we would hope that even that one moment of a child's joy, that one moment of her smiling and lighting up and taking the little Minnie Mouse doll. I know I went off subject. The point is that making an impact like that even is important.
You can go
us.
subject with stories like that all day. It's good stuff to hear. It's fantastic. So again, let's go and go over the details here. So you guys are offering 5 weeks of free karate classes beginning tomorrow, Tuesday, June 28th, for 2nd through 5th grade kids.
Correct.
And I guess we're kind of really targeting the Robb Elementary kids here, right?
Yes. However, we're not going to turn anyone else away who's interested. We can facilitate different programs and different time frames and things like that. We also offer regular classes. This is not a ploy in any way to get anybody to sign up in any way. This is just, hey, let's come in and hang out and do something fun for the summer. Another thing, is that it's a small community. There's not a lot to do out here. A lot of times we go out of town, right?
Absolutely.
And the locals aren't really the ones who go to the river. It's the out-of-towners who come to
well, and especially we lack opportunities for kids. We've got one, city pool and not a whole bunch more besides a park,
Yep.
So this is a fantastic, thing you guys are doing here, and the classes will be Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Now, specifically about the classes, give me an example of what these kids are going to learn.
Before I answer that, if you don't mind, I do want to reiterate one thing I was going to answer earlier, and that is that it's not just for that age group, but also not just for this community. We've had people from La Pryor, Crystal City, Hondo, and other areas inquire.
Okay.
And what about my kid? We don't want to encroach. So you know what? Bring them. Just if you have the opportunity, come on in. We'll figure it out. And we have plenty of space here, plenty of trainers, plenty of black belts, which sends me into the question that you just asked right now. And that is what they're going to learn. Number one are fundamental ideas of how we exercise in a traditional environment. There are some rules. No talking, stand up straight, those kind of things. We are extremely disciplined for the sake of safety, but we are not militant. Nobody's going to yell at them or get in their face or anything like that. And what they're going to learn is the basics of how the classes are run for their age group. They're going to learn some basic exercises, the structure of the exercises, positioning of the body to ensure that they can grow over time and not wear themselves out. If you do a squat incorrectly for 20 years, you're going to feel it. If you do it correctly, you can do it for 80 years. You know what I mean? So let's plant those seeds to
make
sure
I should have known that 40 years ago.
You do push-ups, though, right?
No, but believe me, exercise is not what I'm doing wrong. The fact is that I'm not exercising is what I'm doing wrong.
So we'd like to remedy that, right? And at least plant the seed for them to feel that. And aside from that, they're going to learn basic fighting stances, basic maneuvers from the fighting stances, basic kicks and punches, and they're going to learn it from what's called a Mudokwan system of Taekwondo, which is a Korean combative system that mainly emphasizes a lot of kicks, but there's also a lot of striking with the hands as well. And then, ideas of blocking and movement. And I guess if you could say this, the entire course would be to plant the seed of fundamentals so that they can build something on that in the future, no matter where they go or what they do, that they're going to remember that. If they engage in sports, you know what? It's about learning how to learn, being the best listener, being focused on what the coach or the teacher is saying and getting the proper stance, remembering ideas of balance, don't cross your feet, don't do this and don't do that. Plus, we're going to throw them around the room a little bit in a fun, exciting, safe way.
Yeah.
And
they'll be mats down.
That whole thing is a mat. That's not wood. That's
there
mat.
You go. All right.
And then they get to throw us around, and they get to, every single time they come to class, at the last 10 to 15 minutes of class, we always end with self-defense, always. So there's always a thread for that week that they're going to be practicing, whether it be, headlock or a bear hug or grab you here like this on your neck or trying to pick you up and carry you off. We're going to show them over and over and over and over and over how to remedy these attacks and what to expect and situational awareness and finding their voice. And so, again, you can't cover a whole bunch in 5 weeks, but you can cover some really good hardcore fundamentals.
But if I may put a button on one thing you said, at a time like this where our town and especially our young are feeling so vulnerable, that self-defense is going to mean so much.
It can be very, not only enlightening, it can be very empowering. And that's where we have to also be careful as professionals, because we never want to, the pretend schools that are out there in different places that kind of make it up as they go. You have to be careful with it. As a consumer, you want to make sure you find the right school. So with that being said, we don't want them to leave with a false sense of security. We don't want them to leave with, okay, I did this 2 class, I can stand up and beat everybody.
Right, of course.
Let's practically approach this. We want you to feel like that, but let's train a few years first, and let's make sure that you are that, and then you can walk around and just relax, because once you get to that point, you're not cognizant of it. It's just part of who you are. You walk around with a confidence through competence, not because of ego.
I love the way you talk, man. It's like you're just so cool and clear. It's awesome, man. Again, we're talking to Mr. PJ Talavera here. He's the instructor over here at the Black Belt Academy in Uvalde on East Main Street. And wow, just what a fantastic idea. What a great way to give to the community and just start the healing process. And again, if I can just, reminding everybody that when this happened, these kids' school year ended abruptly, and they were thrown right into summer break in such a disorganized, weird, chaotic fashion. So what a great way to just kind of, I don't want to say it's going to heal everything, but it's going to, a nice opportunity to reset for some of these kids, right?
Absolutely.
Let's go ahead and talk, I guess, about your general, what you got going on here. What exact classes do you offer? And let me give you an opportunity to brag about. I'm sure that you guys have won some distinctions and earned some great stuff.
Sure.
Do some bragging on the place.
Well, okay, here we go. The bragging would be in the successes of the students who have come here and gone on to do great things. We've had several who have gone on into the military. We have several who have gone on to law enforcement. We've had several who have gone on to 4-year universities, who they're go-getters. The people that come in here are the owners, the managers, the ones who go out and seek their fame and fortune or their path in life. They're not the type to just kind of sit around and wait for it to come to you. That's not what people that come here do. These are the ones who want to excel. And with that being said, rather than talk about, 2012, I was inducted into Universal Martial Arts Hall of Fame in Houston, and I received my 5th degree master rank there in front of a lot of masters. Awesome. And a couple hundred people. So, those are great events, right? Those are awesome. I got Coach of the Year because of all the championships that we won, and pictures left and right, and all these plaques, and all these bestowed honors because of the rank. I have since acquired my 6th degree black belt in Muay Thai Taekwondo, but at the same time, I'm working on other things like my jiu-jitsu right now and Muay Thai, and we still do the curriculum of Muay Thai here. But rather than talk about the trophies and the titles and that, really what's most important are our students. What's most important are the lessons that they've learned here. And the reason that I say that, and what comes to mind is, I'll get a phone call from a student who trained 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago. Hey, instructor, I just had to call, and you made such a difference in my life. Thank you so much for teaching me this, and that. And I'm trying to think of the lesson. Okay, what did I say in that class? Because that time you told me this, and it was really profound, really changed my life, and I appreciate it. So it gave me the courage to really remember, and so this is how I got over this or that. That's what's cool. It's not about all the plastic and the shiny stuff. Who cares about that?
That's awesome.
It really is. You cannot lose the core of what it's about. I think my love for this far outweighs anything that we could ever get from it, so to speak, as far as material ideas are concerned. My son Army, in the last 2 tournaments we went to, he won by knockout in 15 seconds each one, and that was pretty cool. It was like, okay, you know what, son, let's take it easy, because let's tone it down a little bit, because that's pretty deadly. It's pretty dangerous, right? But I'm proud because that is what we make. I don't want to scare anybody. That was a different fight. That was a black belt fight. It was a higher rank fight. It had nothing to do with children. It was older teenagers just whopping away on each other. But and the other kids were fine. They were fine. They came too. It's all good. So I guess I would suggest that human interaction and those times where you get the call like, hey, instructor, thank you for training my kid, because that bully finally, she had enough, and so she stood up, she beat him up, and now he's not bothering anyone. You're welcome. Thank you. And not that we want them to fight, but what I'm saying is that I personally cannot be there when they need me to fight for them.
Right.
As much as I would love to, there's only one of me. I'm pretty busy already. Call me, I'll be there, not a problem. But what we can do, or what I do as an instructor, is at least fight through them vicariously by giving them the best training that we can possible, so that in those situations where they have to make a hard decision or save themselves or think clearly or be in a leadership position, which apparently we seem to miss right now, right? That we can at least influence them to survive and to overcome and to endure that's what this is about, and those are the great successes of the Academy.
Well, man, I'm telling you what, I mean, you are an inspiration. I mean, I've known you, I've been talking to you for 20 minutes, and I'm already feeling inspired, you know? And I said I wasn't going to make another Karate Kid reference, but it's like we got our own little Mr. Miyagi over here. So, man, it's...
You know, it's funny that people say Mr. Miyagi, don't say Bruce Lee, you know? I wonder what that means about what I look like. But anyway...
But Bruce had no bedside manner, and Mr. Miyagi
yeah,
has
but he had
arms.
abs.
That's true. But, man, it's been a real pleasure getting to know you and know what your program is about here. Let's go ahead and reiterate what's going on here. Black Belt Academy offering 5 weeks of free karate lessons beginning tomorrow, Tuesday, June 28th, 2nd through 5th grade kids. This is kind of designed for the kids of Raw, but if you're in the surrounding areas, make the phone call, see if they can fit you in. The number to call is 830-279-2288. The lessons will be Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Is there specific times of those?
4 p.m.
4 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then the address here is 2031 East Main Street. And any other detail? Well, give us some information on if you got a website, Facebook, any social media. How can we get hold of this?
You know, that's interesting because I'm not one of those people that does social media. However, I understand we do have that. So we do have a Facebook page somewhere. One of my black belts is in charge of it. I'm gonna call her to tell her to dust it off so that we can communicate that way.
I saw it over the weekend. Look for Uvalde Black Belt Academy.
Okay.
And then you'll find it.
Sure.
Easy, right?
Thank you for telling me that. I didn't know how to find it.
It's all right. You're too busy being a badass, man. It's all good.
Yeah. Well, I certainly appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. So any parting thoughts? Anything we didn't really get out that you feel is important to get out there?
You know, I think that if there's for those listening in the community, the idea of coming together and helping each other, getting away from the pointing the fingers and the drama. There's going to be plenty of that to be had by everyone. But if we just remember what matters, and that was the children that were there, and we remember each other and kind of use love as a guide to help each other out, let's remember that. So if I had a message, it would be something along those lines. The other one would be if you guys need us for anything, give us a phone call and we'll do everything we can so that you'll know that we are committed to the safety of everyone in the community, especially the babies. So those would be my messages.
Again, I like to reiterate by saying I think that what you're saying is, let's focus on the healing and not so much the blaming, and because that's the more constructive of the two. So, man, very good. It's been an honor and a pleasure talking to you again. We've been talking to Mr. PJ Talavera here at the Black Belt Academy in Uvalde, and again, program starts tomorrow. I wish you the best of luck. It's going to be a lot of kids to take care of, and you've signed up for a big deal. So thank you so much in advance.
We have a large staff. We'll handle it. We're ready.
Very good. All right, it's going to wrap it up here at the Black Belt Academy. This is Robert Miguel, and we are on UvaldeRadio.net.